Welcome to the new book releases for the week of April the 15th. I'm Morgan. If this is your first time here, I hope you find a book that you enjoy. We're going to have timestamps per genre that we talk about, and we have a few different genres on this week's list. Let's go ahead and start with some fantasy. Our first book up this week is The Fantasy to Gaze Upon Wicked Gods by Molly X. Chang. Now this one I do feel read more new adult-ish, but it was still a very cool concept and world as it is magic versus science. One day a portal opened up in the sky and ships came in and took over this continent of Pango. This was like a one-day war and they just lost because this continent had magic. These people are born with different abilities. Not everybody, but the few who are, everybody's power is a bit unique. Our main character, Rying, is a girl who's been blessed by death. She can pull the chi out of your body and either leave you extremely weakened or kill you. Her twin is about the opposite. She brings, it just described her as kind of the opposite, and so the past several years they've been growing more distant as her twin is getting more involved with the Phantom, who is this rebellion leader that wants to overthrow the Romans who are occupying them. Because in this it is set to where the Romans never fell. The Roman Empire is a big power in what sounds like our world, about in our timeline. But the book takes place fully in Pango, and it is looking at magic versus science as the Romans have technology lording over conquering. They are conquering this nation. Though they are in a peace treaty and they have their own section of the main city but this was an interesting take of turning some real world events into fables and making it look in a different way at a very serious topic. YA fantasy next with Calling of Light by Lori Emily. This is going to be the conclusion to the Shaman Born trilogy, yes, where our main character is Sarasha Ashwin. The first book being Forest of Souls, and it says she comes from nothing, but she's intent on becoming something. After years of training to become the queen's next royal spy, her plans are derailed when shamans attack and kill her best friend Sango? And then Sriracha somehow restores Sango to life. Unveiled as the first soul guide in living memory, Sriracha is summoned to the domain of the Spider King. I'm sorry, I feel like I said everyone's name wrong in that description. Our other YA is more of a dystopian thriller, The Kill Factor by Ben Oliver. 50 contestants, 5 mental and physical challenges, 1 winner. In a near future where virtual currency of digital content fuels a fame-hungry society, a brand new experiment that combines social media and reality TV has been greenlit. Contestants are sent to a maximum security reform camp on an island where they have no contact with the outside world. To lose means prison, but to win is to be free. The most popular young offender with the most upvotes by the end is given both a second chance in society and a cash prize. And our main character is fighting to be able to have that for her family to get them out of this slum type area where apparently the government puts poor people and communities underground. Our adult thriller of the week is One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. Years after a breakdown and diagnosis of dissociative identity disorder derailed her historical preservationist career, Kentria Nash and her alters have been given a second chance, a position as resident caretaker of a historic home. Having been dormant for years, Ken has no idea what led them to this isolated Hudson River island, but she's determined not to ruin their opportunity. Then a surprise visit from the home's conservation trust, just as the nor'easter bears down on the island, disrupts her newfound life, leaving Ken trapped with a group of possibly dangerous strangers, including the man who brought her life tumbling down years earlier. When he turns up dead, Ken is the prime suspect. Then we move into fiction. The first one up is going to be A Calamity of Souls by David Baldacci. This is going to be following 2 lawyers as they are taking on a trial charge of murder where the defendant is a black man who is accused of murdering an elderly, wealthy white couple. It is taking place in the late 1960s during the middle of the civil rights movement and looking at racism and the justice system and the inequality of it. And we are following from the lawyer's perspective, the 2 different lawyers, one from the Virginia area where it's supposed to be taking place and the other one from Chicago, and just how their stance on it is different and how they go about the trial, and seeing that even though they're trying to defend this man, things are stacked against them. Then we have Rabbit, Rabbit, Rabbit by Nadine Sander Green. Millicent is a shy 24-year-old reporter who moves to Whitehorse to work for a failing daily newspaper. With winter looming and the Yukon descending into darkness, Millicent begins a relationship with Pascal, an eccentric and charming middle-aged filmmaker who lives on a converted school bus in a Walmart parking lot. What begins as a romantic adventure soon turns toxic, and and Millicent finds herself struggling not to lose herself and her voice. We'll end their week with some romance to have a bit of a lighter tone. The Finders Keepers Library by Annie Raines. Our main character is a gardener. However, her life seems like it's all thorns and zero roses. Savannah Collins has no job, no relationship, and no place to live. With nothing but a car full of plants and her new rescue kitten, Savannah heads to Bloom, North Carolina to spend the summer with her beloved Aunt Eleanor, a retired librarian. Her aunt shares her love of literature with the Finders Keepers Library, located in her beautiful garden where anyone can stop by to pick up a book or leave a book. When a sudden summer storm destroys the library and many of the roses, it will take a village to get everything ready for the garden wedding that is planned there in just 3 weeks. That's all for this week's list. I really hope you found something new to add to your TBR, and if there was one that you know about that I didn't mention coming out this week, feel free to drop it in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this one, you can go check out some of my other videos and hopefully subscribe so you can come back for more new books every week. I hope you're having an excellent day and finding something awesome to read.